Hi, everybody. I'm Sigfried Trent, game designer, co-creator of Everyday Heroes, producer of Phlegm for SigTrent Games. Today, I'm going to update you on what's going on with SigTrent Games. Going to offer a little bit of game design advice. We're going to talk about my life and week in gaming. I'm going to highlight a Everyday Heroes product that's out there that you can buy. So I sound a little bit different this week. I'm trying to keep kind of a low, quiet tone because I just got done with a big cold and I have a nasty cough that I don't really want you to have to experience. And so if I talk kind of low and slow, then it is less likely I will trigger it. So that's what we're going to try to do today. So let's talk about what's been going on. It's been like at least 3 weeks. This script has been updated like 3 times or so. It's not exactly a script, it's more like a set of notes. Because I keep intending to do it and then something comes up that's made it impossible to do the update. And then finally we're getting to it. This would be, so this is like 3 weeks worth of updates. This would be number 52, which means it has been at least a year of doing these updates. And we'll talk more about that later. All right, so let's go over what's been going on with SigTrent Games in the meantime. So Shotgun Fantasy, layout is about half done. I believe Anna was working on the magic items when we both got very sick. So we had to stop that. We lost about a week of work so far. Probably still going to lose a little bit more because Anna's still under the weather. So that has been delayed, and my sickness has delayed everything. So there was still stuff that happened before we got sick, and we'll continue to talk about that. So layouts half done, looks really good. I did go have to get additional art and identified some pages that needed art, and so I found art that was suitable for those pages. So we picked up some more art for the book. It looks really cool. It's neat to have all that art in there. It doesn't cost a whole lot, so I don't mind spending on this project. It's kind of a passion project anyway, so it should be full of cool pictures. Hope you enjoy them. We have got more layout contracts coming in. Anne's work has proved popular for the clients who have been receiving it, and so we got asked to do more. Unfortunately, again, she's sick, so that's going to be delayed as well, but it's nice to have that additional stream of income for the company. Circling the wagons since the end of the year, beginning of the new year, and my work on Shotgun Fantasy is kind of done. Well, not entirely, but the heavy lifting part for me. So it's planning out the new year, figuring out all the little things I'm going to do, getting my email organized, getting my to-do lists organized, all the things that kind of had to get put on the side when I just had incredible amounts of writing that I needed to do every week. So I'm back kind of more into a management mode here for a little while in January. I'll pick another project. I've got 2 projects already that need to get work writing on, but they're going to kind of sit there until I'm ready for the publicity for Shotgun Fantasy, and then we're going to get back into those. Yeah, so, and sending out invoices, doing my accounting. It's the end of the year, taxes are coming up, so I got to do all that stuff. So a lot of that kind of overhead work is going on right now. Also, interesting thing the last couple of weeks that is related to SigTrent Games, and also just related to my normal life, is I had an interview opportunity. So I do keep an eye out for myself, even though I'm running SigTrent Games, for kind of dream jobs in the gaming industry, things that I'm both qualified for and I think I have a good shot at, and where the income would be really stabilizing for my finances and would help me save money that could supply SigTrent Games in the future. Taking a job like that, like a 40-hour-a-week job with benefits and everything, very beneficial for me and my family. So it's something I have to consider, especially if it's a really cool career opportunity. So one of those came along, and this was a job at Foundry VTT, working on Ember and Crucible. Crucible is their new kind of VTT-focused TTRPG system, and Ember is like a huge campaign for Dungeons & Dragons and for Crucible that they're working on. Really cool projects. I really like Foundry VTT as a company. My interactions with them in the past have always been good. I really like the software quite a lot. So, and it's a little bit of that mix between the technical background that I have and the role-playing design and storytelling and writing. And I was just like, well, this is pretty cool. So I applied for that, and I got through the application process and got to do an interview. So that was super exciting, and I kind of put things on hold for a little bit in order to focus on that because it's a really cool opportunity. So I spent a lot of time studying Amber and Crucible, analyzing those games, just trying to understand, watching videos from the company, trying to get the vision that they're doing, all that kind of stuff. So that I do well in the interview. Did the interview. I did not make it past that stage. So, and I got sick. I got sick like just before the interview, right? So when I did the interview, my brain was starting to fail, my voice cracked, and that was not really great. That's, I don't think, why I failed the interview. There's going to be a lot of really good candidates for a job like that, and they're going to have very specific ideas in mind. And so somebody else is probably a better fit. And, like any interview, sure, parts of it I did well, parts of it I didn't. But I had a good rapport with the gentleman, Andrew, who I was talking to. And it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate them giving me that consideration. And am I disappointed that I didn't get a job? Yes and no. Like, in my life, I try to follow the possible waves. And that's like one direction that would take my life down a certain path. And not doing it is another direction that takes my life down a different path. Which of those paths is better? You don't know until you've walked them, right? So I can't say that, this is a good thing or a bad thing, just is what it is. It was an exciting opportunity to have. I'm glad to have had that shot. And, if another thing comes along like that, I will try again. But in the meantime, it's all gears forward for SigTrent Games, and I'm going to continue to be completely dedicated to that. All right. This, by the way, is 1 year of videos, which I said a little bit earlier, but that means 1 full year of design diaries. I didn't quite make every week. I think I probably missed about 4 or 5 weeks in total. Most of them here at the end, as things kind of got crazy at the end of the year. But pretty proud of that. I do think I want to redo these videos in a different way for the next year. So I'll probably change the name, probably change the background. We'll change the music, change the format a little bit. I'm still going to talk about what's going on at SigTrent Games. Still going to highlight products, still, all that kind of stuff. So similar content probably, but I'll format it in a different way. Maybe make it a little bit more open, a little bit more of a story. I'm not sure. I'm going to be thinking about that today. That's on my to-do list to try and figure out what we can do to do a little different. Because I just like to shake things up, see what works, try something different. So 1 year of these. And I think also I'm not going to do them every week, probably every other week or once a month, something like that. And spend a little more time on them, but a little less... a little more time for each video, but a little less time overall on the videos. All right, anyway, let's move on. Product Spotlight, Requiem. This is something I want to highlight from Dreamslayer Studios, from Christopher Tyner, and is a good associate and friend of mine in the world of Everyday Heroes. Really great fellow. We were going to work on some projects together, but it just, the synchronization of our time just kind of didn't quite work out. I wasn't ready to partner up and do something because I had too many other things going on at the same time and limited bandwidth. So, but anyway, Christopher does great work. I was super impressed with Requiem. It's a really cool book. That's basically, it's a urban fantasy world for everyday heroes. It has kind of angels and devils, Darkspawn, Elysians, Purifiers, cool stuff like that. Like kind of that War in Heaven sort of style, but on Earth with guys in trench coats. And it has a lot of 80s vibe. I quite like it. I think it's really cool. And it's just got a ton of great content. Christopher's both really good in the rules and really good in his writing. So both sort of the fluff and the crunch are really there. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. It's got tons of character options. He's got a bunch of different origins, and he has sects that you can join in this world, different philosophical outlooks and agendas that they have. Very kind of White Wolf, Worlds of Darkness kind of a feeling thing, which I think is really cool. He's got 3 sort of new character types, Elysian, Darkspawn, and Purifiers, and they have their own agendas and their own things going on. And 18 classes, which is like a lot of classes to put together. That's as many as we have in the core rules, minus 2. It's as many as we were supposed to have in the core rules initially before we added 2 bonus classes. So there's just really a lot of crunchy content in there. And the classes are really cool. They have all kinds of neat powers and talents and supernatural stuff. He's got supernatural weapons and equipment in there. 65 horror-themed NPCs that you can use, which is really cool. Lots of great enemies. And a lot of original art that's really nice and thematic. Good clean writing and mechanics. I don't know. It's definitely the best third-party supplement for Everyday Heroes to date. I'm hoping maybe Shotgun Fantasy, I can compete in that category. But right now, I think Requiem kind of stands above all the other third-party stuff for Everyday Heroes. So definitely check that out. You can get it at DriveThruRPG. I'll put a link down below. You can also get it on Sidekick, I believe, although I don't have it there. I just have it on DriveThru. All right, game design tip of the week. Everyday Heroes background. So I talk a lot about general game design advice, and I was like, man, what else can I talk about? And I was like, oh, I could talk about doing Everyday Hero mechanics. That's a good idea. So let's talk a little bit about backgrounds and how they work. So the basic concept of a background is it is the stuff in your character's past that is meaningful to who they are today. If you ask them, who were you or what were your defining moments as childhood or adolescent or even as a young adult or something like that, anything in your past, they would say, oh yeah, this really informed who I am today. That's your background. Now, realistically, every hero probably has lots of things in their background that inform who they are. But in Everyday Heroes, you get to pick one that is actually going to impact your stats and your abilities and things like that. So, it doesn't limit your character background to that one thing, but this is the thing that you want to highlight, right? The things that it doesn't represent is like your current life. Now, maybe if you were an immigrant, you're still an immigrant, right? Then you have the immigrant background. You have a job and you have your class that you are as a hero and things like that. So these are things that it's a flavor of who your character is, more than a representation of who they are up front and center and how they deal with conflict. Yeah, I think it's about that. The things that you don't want to do here, I'm interpreting my notes. I'm reading. It says, don't do something that needs more mechanics. Yeah. So if you're choosing a thing to be a background and you're like, wow, this background would give you like these 6 skills and it would your strength and agility and all these things would be important to have from that background. That's not a good choice for background. Maybe it is a background thing, but mechanically it's not going to work very well in Everyday Heroes. Backgrounds are very simple. They usually give you like one stat, one proficiency of some kind, and a little special talent. And that's about it, right? So if it's something really involved, you either need to think of, well, no, just the highlights are going to be represented in the mechanic, or, you need to probably think of something else to do as a background. All right, so what are the elements of a background? There's a name, there's a description, you get an ability score, usually. It's not required, but it's almost always there. Sometimes you could get an additional language, often makes sense with a background. Usually you get a proficiency of some kind. It could be an equipment proficiency, or it could be a skill proficiency. And then you get iconic equipment, generally speaking. We almost always put that in there. And then you get a talent of some kind. Not all backgrounds have talents. I often get asked, why doesn't this background have a special feature or a talent? And the answer is because I gave it 2 proficiencies. Which brings us to the points system that we use to do these backgrounds. So for the backgrounds and for professions, we have a point system which determines how much benefit we can offer, mechanical benefits we can offer in these mechanics to keep the system relatively balanced. And backgrounds are very simple. They get basically 2 points. Now, an ability score is worth 1 point. Proficiency is worth half a point. And a talent is usually worth half a point. I will point out that the talents, which were called special features in the core rules, for backgrounds and professions are generally relatively weak. They're a lot weaker than the talents you get from feats, and even more weaker than the talents you get from classes. So not all talents are created equal. Background talents, these half-point talents, are usually situational benefits. Most of them are, you have advantage in this one situation with this particular skill roll. They can be a little more expansive than that. They can also be role-playing benefits, like if you're a police officer, we have one that says you can make arrests and you can call other cops to the scene. That's actually potentially kind of powerful, but it's not really a game mechanic. It is a role-play power that you have because of your status as a police officer. That's a profession, of course, not a background. So when you're doing these talents, they shouldn't usually be combat abilities, or if they are combat abilities, they should be like once per long rest type combat abilities. They are generally pretty weak, but they can be good in a specific situation. Ability scores, you can pick any ability score you want. We just try to pick one that is thematic, and when we are doing a book that has a bunch of backgrounds, we try to make sure all the ability scores are represented. So if there's a background that perceivably could be strength, con, or intelligence, we look and see, which of these is least represented, and we will assign that stat to it, because so long as it is a reasonable choice. You can also, especially in a smaller book where we don't have a lot of backgrounds, we will give you a choice. And some backgrounds, because, like Man of Mystery, well, what ability score is being mysterious all about? You don't know. So you get to pick. Being able to pick an ability score is extra good, and so we don't do it most of the time, but sometimes it's just kind of the only option that makes sense. Languages are usually free. Now, sometimes if we assign multiple languages, like you get 3 bonus languages, well, that could be worth half a point. That's kind of like having a talent or something like that, especially in a game where languages are going to be important in some way, shape, or form. Proficiencies are, like I said, always half a point. There was a time when we used to score military weapon proficiencies as a full point, but especially as we started to do more military-themed books and stuff, that became kind of problematic and limited our design space too much. So I'm these days doing them as half a point. You'll almost never see military in a background, however, because to get military, you've also got to have advanced, and that would be 2 proficiencies, which would be a full point. You could do it, but then you would have to take away the talent, probably, in order to make that work. I have at least once written a background that had no ability score, but I think generally it's always good to include the ability score. But if you wanted to do one and no ability score, but you get lots of proficiencies, certainly reasonable to do that. You can play around with it. Nothing is set in stone there. It's just that I think players are going to want to get that ability score point from their background. And so it will make the thing a lot less attractive if you put all the points into proficiencies. Anything else with that? No, I think that's about that. Backgrounds are pretty simple to write and create, so have fun making them. And don't worry about if you make one that's a little bit like another one that already exists out there. We don't worry about that too much. We try not to have any that are exactly the same, but they're really there for flavor and to support whatever book you're doing and to help people make cool characters, right? All right. Playing games. So it's been a long period, so there have been a number of games that I've played, although I've been sick and really busy. So in a sense, I haven't played a lot of games. But anyway, some No Man's Sky here and there, just a way to relax. We did the last expedition. They're not doing another expedition for a while until February, so I haven't been playing very much. Gene Forge 1, which is a really old RPG. I'll just spend a couple hours grinding away in that game, trying to advance the story. I like that it's a very simple game. Sometimes you just want a simple RPG, but still kind of challenging, and Gene Forge meets that goal pretty well. Dishonored Ultimate Edition. So this, just as I was recovering from my very nasty cold, I had enough energy to get up for a couple hours, eat some food, and I wanted something to do just to take my mind off the tedium of lying in bed. So I played Dishonored Ultimate Edition. I think it's Ultimate Edition. Anyway, really great sort of, Deus Ex-like stealth, action, story game. Really great. I've beaten it before, and it's very rare that I go back and play a game that I've finished before. But I kind of wanted to play the sequel, which I've never done. And I thought, it's been so long, I don't remember all the story beats, so I'll go back and play it again. It's a great game again. I enjoyed it thoroughly playing the second time. Some of it was familiar and I remembered. Probably a lot better at it because I kind of played it before. I had a great time with it. And I just set it on like normal difficulty because I was really sick and I didn't want to challenge myself. So it was a good way to kind of do that transition from I'm in bed doing nothing to starting to get up and get active again. And then, after I finished it the next day, I was actually feeling enough to start working again and do stuff around the house and clean up, which, when you get really sick and your wife gets really sick, things kind of go to hell. So it was good to have the energy to start fixing stuff again. Axis and Allies, 1942. Playing not on a video game, but a board game with a friend from work who's never really played board games before. First cough. That's pretty good. I've gotten this far without it. Anyway, Russia is disintegrating. We're on like turn 2. England is expanding. Japan sunk America's main fleet in a daring attack. Not quite at Pearl Harbor, but close by, Wake Island. But America is going to try to rebuild and regroup. They've already got reinforcements coming. So it's not really clear who's winning. Certainly Russia's loss is a pretty serious problem for the Allies. On the other hand, that's given England the space to kind of like breathe and take over Africa. And that could prove very troublesome for everybody on the Axis side in the long run. We'll see. I'm playing the Allies in this game just because my friend is new to the game, so he only wanted to play the side with less forces. So anyway, having a good time with that. We just only play for 3 hours every week or so, but I missed this week because I was sick. So hopefully I can get back to that and find out what happens. Anne has been playing on her Twitch channel just a little bit this week. She's been sick, so just making an hour or so, doing a low talking fishing expedition, I think she did. So it's nice to see her be able to get out of bed and do a little bit of that. So you can join her and say hi and watch her do some low-key stuff on the weekends. All right. Life in general. Wow, just a lot happened in the last 3 weeks, So we'll do this kind of speed round style. I had a lot of extra shifts at the gift shop the week before New Year's, the week after New Year's, and the week after that because everybody was getting sick. And then I got sick, and I had to take a week off of the gift store. So that's the way things go. Politics has had me very agitated here in the new year. Not going to get into the great detail on that. But I am going to kind of re-engage with political things a little bit, maybe make some videos, because I feel strongly about things. But, I just don't want to talk about it here in the gaming space. Not because of any stricture stuff. It's just as a place to have fun. So we can all just enjoy that for the moment. I did lots of work on my homework for my interview, and, it went pretty good, but not good enough. Let's see. Oh yeah, I already talked about doing the interview and being sick, and got really sick too. I hate to give my ailment to my wife. It's funny. She doesn't always get everything that I get, and vice versa. But this one, we got it together. Not a lot of fun. She's a couple days behind me on the track though, so hopefully she'll be well soon. I'm recovering from being sick. Still got just a little bit of it, but I felt good enough to do the video. But I didn't want to have a 4-week video. It gets ridiculous after a while when you put things off. Okay, well, that's about it. I feel that strong urge to cough now, but I am resisting, so I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much to all the fans who have been here with me through this year. I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate everybody on the Discord. I appreciate everyone who has picked up my products. It means the world to me. This year is going to be a pretty big year for SigTrent Games. We're going to actually have a book out. I'm going to do promotion like crazy for Shotgun Fantasy. We're going to fire into printing. I'm going to do new kinds of videos. I'm going to start thinking about a business plan that will allow me to get a loan, that I can hire other people to do some work, and, kind of taking that company to the next level, I hope. However, you never know what life throws at you. You never know what challenges you might face. So it's an adventure every time. And hopefully we can face that adventure together. Have a great time playing some games. I will catch you all later.